In today's video, I'm going to redesign some merch from Civil Regime and show you guys the entire process from start to finish. And before we get into the video, a quick word from our sponsor. Today's tutorial is brought to you by Envato Elements. Envato Elements delivers unlimited access to over 55 million assets such as fonts, photos, video templates, WordPress themes. Check out this awesome pullover hoodie mockup that I found on Envato Elements, and I added my art to it. It looks super crisp. Oh, and check out this logo glitch reveal that I downloaded for Final Cut Pro. Love it. Envato offers a nice, simple license that counts even after your subscription ends. Follow the link in the description below and get 50% off with an annual subscription, giving you access to everything for less than $20 a month. That's all for Envato Elements. Let's design some merch. In this video, we're gonna be recreating something like this, and I really like the Civil Regime brand. I think it's really cool. I did provide you guys with a PNG download. You can download that right now before starting this video, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So if you haven't done that yet, I would definitely do that before continuing on. When you guys go to download it, you're gonna see this eagle and you're gonna see this horse. Before we start compositing our images, let's go ahead and press Command or Alt-N on our keyboard. That's gonna pop up this new document window, and go to inches. And let's just do a 14 by 15 or 16 inch document. Let's make the resolution set to 300. The inches really doesn't matter. It depends on, how big you're gonna print this. If you want it to be larger, obviously make it larger, or you could just set up a template like I did, which is MBA, which is merch by Amazon. And it's already kind of set up for me. It's 4,500 pixels by 5,400 pixels at 300 resolution. And the color profile, I wanna make sure that this is set to something else. So let's make it working sRGB, or we could even do Adobe RGB. That's a pretty safe one for your color profile. I have a new monitor and I'm still kind of experimenting with it, but if yours is like set to default, just leave it there. And then the pixels, you can keep that at square pixels. I don't want to go over this too much more, so that's pretty much it. You can copy my settings and then hit create, just like that. So now we have our document. Before we get into the video, I want to go over my workspace setup. So I have my toolbar on the left-hand side, and if you look at your workspace, I'm using graphic and web. You can also use essentials if you want. Really, any of these will work. The main thing is having your layers palette present, your styles, swatches, and color, stuff of that nature. Even properties is pretty helpful. Character, all that good stuff is good to have. Everything else I don't really use a ton, but it is important to have all of the main things showing and set them up how you want them, whatever feels comfortable to you. Enough about that. Let's go ahead and start designing. We're gonna go to our folder with our horse. I'm just gonna copy the entire artboard. So I'm gonna do Command A or Alt A on my keyboard. Once you do that, you can either go up to Edit, Copy Merged, or you can do Shift Command C to copy that. Let's go ahead and paste it on top of our artboard now. Just like that. And it's gonna be pretty small, but I'm not really too worried about it. We're gonna sharpen it and stuff like that. Once you paste that, hold in Shift and Option, and then just resize it just like this. You can also make sure the top parameters are linked right here and just do it that way as well. It's really up to you. It is going to be a little blurry, but it's not too bad. We're gonna crispen, is that even a word? We're gonna sharpen this up in a second, so I'm not too concerned about it. The next order of business is we need to take these wings right here from the eagle. And in order to do that, I'm just gonna hit L on my keyboard or go to the lasso tool, however you wanna do it. And I'm just gonna select around this wing right here. And I actually wanna select more of it because I'm gonna use it to blend it in, just like that. And obviously it's not the right color, but again, we're gonna fix that. Press Command C on your keyboard. Let's go to our document and paste that in place. Again, it's gonna be pretty small, but that's fine. We're gonna fix that in a second. Let's make it a little bit larger, and we're gonna kind of position it where we want this to sit. Now let's go ahead and grab the other wing, and this one, I'm not even sure if I'm gonna end up using it yet. I might need a different angle or whatever, but we're gonna try it out and see where it goes. So let's paste that in place as well. Once you cut those wings out, you're gonna have two different wings, obviously, and we're gonna have the horse. Let's go ahead and title everything. So what I'm doing is left clicking twice on my layer 1 name, and I'm gonna name this horse. And then we can left click on layer 2 as well and name that wing 1. And then we can name this one wing 2, same thing. So now we have everything placed where we need it to be, and we can start kind of blending things together and figuring out how this Pegasus is going to come to life. So let's start with the first wing and just kind of drag it where we think it should be. Again, this is going to be kind of difficult because I don't know exactly where I kind of want this. Obviously, this wing is going to be hidden on his back. One thing I want to do before even blending it though is I want to desaturate this wing completely. And we are going to go to levels and raise the levels up a lot because I want to make this wing look more white. So we're just using levels right now. That's literally it. To try to blend it in a little better. And it would have been helpful actually to duplicate the wing first, but it's okay. I can get it really easily. And then from here, what I want to do is add a layer mask. And I'm just going to really softly mask around his face where I don't want that wing to show up. Does that make sense? Hope that does. We can even take down the flow a little bit. Let's take it down to like 35 and just start blending it in like this. So this might look a little funky at first, but you know, we'll kind of figure it out as we go. Maybe even make it like the perspective a little different as well. So Command T and then right click on that, and then you can make it look like it's more, you know, like it has this perspective. This part's a little more time consuming, guys, so be patient with it. It's going to be kind of difficult, especially if you're new to like image compositing and stuff like that. This part's not going to be easy for you, but it's one of those things where if you just like keep practicing, you could definitely get it down. I don't even know if that wing looks honestly that good. I might need to find a different wing. What I'm doing is using this right wing, and I duplicated it twice. So I have one under the horse and one above. I'm not really like in love with these wings though. I'm not even sure if they're gonna work, honestly. Like there's something funky about them, but I'm gonna try my best. I think that like right here, they don't look too bad. What I would like to do though is duplicate my horse once. So Command J while selecting that layer, the horse layer. Alternatively, if you don't wanna do that, you could just click and drag it to the plus icon at the bottom of the layers palette and it will duplicate it. Let's go ahead and hide that. And let's also make the wings as smart objects. So I'm right clicking on them and converting them to a smart object. You can just name that wing 1 and then wing 2. That way we know where they are. I meant to do wing 2 on that one. All right, so now that those are smart objects, I'm gonna go up to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. Also Command U if you want to use your shortcuts, that's completely fine. And we don't really want to mess with anything else but the saturation on this particular adjustment. Let's go up to Image, Adjustments one more time. And we could do a levels adjustment on this one and just kind of play with the levels a little bit. It's okay to add a little bit of contrast back to it, but we're going to stick with something like this. We're going to make them look super, I don't know what you would call it, holy, if you will. Now what we want to do is take this smart filter and copy it to the other wing. So we're going to hold an Option, click and drag this to the other one. Just like that. So now we have something that looks like that. And we could do the same kind of process to the horse. We don't want to ruin the horse though. We don't want him to be too bright, but we kind of want to see if we can match the brightness a little bit closely with the wings. Now let's right click on the horse and convert that to a smart object as well. We already have a copy, keep in mind, so we can kind of drag that below and just set it off to the side. And let's do the same exact thing. Let's go ahead and copy this smart filter onto the horse copy, and it's gonna look obviously really bad right now, but we're gonna fix that in a second. So what we can do is delete that levels, add another one. Let's add another levels adjustment by pressing Command or Alt L on our keyboard, and we can easily make another levels. And it's okay if this one's a little bright. We kind of need that to blend in everything. With that being said, I kind of like the way this is looking now. It's a little better. Let's go ahead and add a layer mask to this wing right here. And let's just sort of try to blend it in just a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect, you know, obviously, but try to do your best. What I want to do is duplicate wing 2 one more time. And I'm going to convert everything again. And we can actually even rasterize this now. And I want to try to add a warp to it and just see if I can kind of make it look a little better. Maybe. I'm not sure if this is even going to make it look better or not, but I really just want to try to warp it to the body a little bit better. Maybe even make it flare out. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Okay, that's looking a little better. Maybe we could do the same thing for the other wing, making it look like it's got a little bit more character, not just default. I think it's starting to look better, honestly. After positioning it and like kind of blending it in, I think this is all right. This is a good starting point. It's definitely not the best. I'm sure there's somebody out there that could kill this and do a way better job than me, but I'm not mad at it either. So we're gonna kind of stick with this version of it. The only other thing I do wanna do is add a little bit of shading behind the horse's head, because obviously, you know, with this wing being behind, there's gonna be some shadows going on. So we wanna address that real quick. And what we could do actually is select this bottom wing, which is wing 1 copy, press Command or Alt on your keyboard, select the thumbnail by left clicking on it. Let's go back to layer 1, which is going to be our shadow layer. And then I could just kind of start painting in, you know, where I think this shadow should be. All right, I think that looks a little better, just with a little shading, nothing too crazy. Now what I want to do is duplicate the top wing once, add another levels adjustment. And I want to try to bring out a little bit more contrast in it. I feel like it's a little, you know, it's lacking contrast just a little bit. So I'm just gonna bring a lot of those levels down, and we can clip that to wing 2 copy. So it just, you know, kind of looks like it has a little bit more contrast, and then we can just mask out the bottom part. So I added a layer mask. I'm using black as my foreground color. Just make sure your foreground color is set to black and you can delete. And if you press D on your keyboard, it's going to make sure that the palette on the left-hand side here is default, which is white in the foreground and black in the background. So You want to hit that little arrow and make sure it's black. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more, just keep playing with it a little bit. See, so now when I, toggle it on and off, you can see that now it's got a little bit more contrast. It looks a little better. I want to find a font that I really like for this project. So in order to like really keep you guys on the same page, I'm going to go find a font with you guys and we're going to download it together. So let's go ahead and go to dafont.com. What we want to do is go to the basic section here. When you go to DA font, you're going to see basic on the kind of like more of the middle side. And let's go to various and just type in Civil Regine, however you say that. And let's try to find a font that we, think can potentially work with this. And maybe we should do lowercase as well. And again, I'm really paying attention to the characters to see, if I can get something that's kind of closer to what they have right now. And this is sometimes a lot easier said than done. Another thing that we might want to work with is just a serif, a plain serif. I think this would look better. And I mean, we could change the font up too. We don't have to copy the font that they have, but I think it's important that we kind of get semi close to what they have. See, I like this one right here. It's bold. It's called Subway. I like the way that looks. And I also love Vintage. These are both really good fonts. So let's download both of those. Vintage Rovery, and then let's zoom in a little bit more for you guys. There we go. So now we can really see what's going on. All right, so I have Vintage Rovery, and then we have Subway. Let's go to tab 2 now. Let's go look at the design. Maybe that's gonna help. I'm pretty sure we have this font already. I forgot the name of it though. I'm almost positive I have this font already. We're not gonna spend too much time on this. I want one that's a little sharper though. It's just one of those things where I can sit here for hours looking for a font. It needs to be super legible too, that's the thing. Let's go to tab 4. I know I said tab 3 now, but let's just go to tab 4. All right, so the only thing that I will say is like sometimes you just have to try things and see if it works. So we're gonna try Bambi out. That's the one I just downloaded. And I will include this in the description of the video as well, so you guys can download it in case you couldn't find it with me. What I did is I took the group and I just named it horse. So I'll do that again real quick. As you can see, that group has everything that has to do with the horse. Now we are good to go. And we can actually group these together too and just name these copy or something like that. So we know where everything is. And now what we wanna do is hit T on our keyboard and let's just start typing something out. Before we do that though, as you can see, all of our text is selected, but it's hidden. Let's just make sure that our foreground color is white, and then you will see everything again. And we could just type out civil and then lowercase Regine. And we wanna go to our font titled Bambi. So I'm selecting my font and then just changing the font to Bambi. And then now we can kind of just kind of resize it. I almost feel like it needs to be more condensed. I'm gonna go to the site called myfonts.com/whatthefont, and what you could do is you can upload a screenshot or whatever of an image and it will attempt to find the font for you. So we're gonna try this out and see if I can find one that's a little closer. I had to use Adobe Fonts to find the font that I really wanted to use on this project. Nonetheless, we have that font now, which is good, and I could start using it. And I think I'm gonna use this version of it right here. This one's not terrible. It's not exact, obviously, but I think it works much better than the other one. So I'm definitely a lot happier with it. And I don't care if it's being covered up, like that's fine. Sometimes you gotta be careful with this, but I think you can still read it. And another thing is we do wanna change the font color. So I'm just gonna double click on the thumbnail and we are going to change this to like a really poppy red. So now we have this poppier red. And let's go ahead and find some lightning on Google. So let's go to Google, find something that will fit this design nicely. Something that's just super energetic. I'm just gonna use the one that I have real quick and just kind of see if I can come up with something cool with it. And then we can put it above everything. Let's try different blend modes out real quick and see what looks better. You can go to adjustments and mess with the levels as well. As you can see, that helps a little bit. I think this is gonna look much better as a background element. What I'm doing is putting this below the horse real quick. We can hide the horse for now. Let's go ahead and double click on layer 1 where the blank space is. So left click twice. And let's go to the blend if options where it says this layer. Hold in Alt or Option and just separate this little arrow right here. We're gonna delete all the black out of it. And then let's go ahead and convert this to our smart object. And now it shouldn't have a background, which is what we want. And we can color this white or whatever color you want really. And then let's toggle that horse back on. Another thing is I do think they are using more of a blue color. So that's fine with me. We can go to like a lighter blue and let's add an outer glow as well because I do think they have a glow on it. Take that opacity up a little bit more. And then we want to mess with the choke and all that stuff. You can even raise the opacity all the way up to 100. I don't think that's going to hurt. And then a little noise I don't think will hurt either. So let's add a little bit of noise to this. And I'm just going to take my eraser tool and erase the parts that I don't like. I think the color overlay needs to be brighter, so I'm just going to go a little bit brighter with it. First, I do want to figure out what the hell I want to do with everything. Another thing is there's a lot of texture on this other design, so we will have to texture the shit out of it, but we'll get there. What I want to do is focus on some sort of like definition right here on the left side, how they have sin. We can do something like that, that's fine, but I'm going to put mine on the right side because we have a lot of empty space right there. So we do have to kind of rework the way we do it since ours is like laid out a little differently. And then I also want to use a secondary font, and I think I'm going to go with something really standard for this one. Maybe Railway. I've used it before. I think it might be a good pair for this. So we're gonna type out sin, and then below that we can have some sort of definition, and I wanna use my guides as well, just so I kind of know where everything is and we can make sure we're lining everything up properly. If you don't know where your guides are, just press Command R on your keyboard and it will go to it. All right, I'm gonna look up sin definition real quick, and it's not like a huge one. So maybe we can just like find one that's a little bit more embellished. All right, we're just gonna take this like little explanation of what sin is and use that. And I think that might look really, really cool. I'm gonna hit T on my keyboard and make a text box, something like that. And then we're just gonna paste that definition in that we just found. I think I wanna right align this paragraph as well, something like that. And this is going to be above everything. So I could drag it above everything first. And we could group that and just add a quick color overlay to this. Maybe civil is a little too big even, you know? So we might need to resize that a little bit. So let's resize that, bring our rulers in. And there's a couple like little lightning parts that I don't like. We're gonna fix that in a second. I think maybe sin can be red as well though. And maybe take that out of the group so it's not in the group. Something like that. I think that, you know, gives it a little bit more contrast. And it looks like we have a little bit of an issue right here where our lightning looks a little weird. I just don't like the lightning at all. I think it looks bad. I'm gonna go back to Google and I'm gonna hit Tools, Size, and we're gonna click Large. And I wanna find one that's like much, much larger, higher quality and everything, because again, it didn't look very good. I found a better lightning strike, so we're gonna try to use this one. I'm gonna desaturate this real quick, desaturate, and maybe even let's add a threshold effect over that. So I'm going to this little adjustment layer icon, which is this little circle, and then hitting threshold, pressing threshold, clicking on it, whatever you want to say. Now we can select the background, just unlock it real quick. So double click on that layer, hit OK. That's gonna unlock it. Select the the lightning, and then select threshold at the same time, and then press Option Command E, and that's going to merge it together, and we can hide everything else. But the background, obviously we want that. And let's click on it and just delete the black out of it. And now we are left with just that strike, which is way better looking. I'm just gonna kind of figure out how I can maneuver this. I want this to be a little bit blue, not too blue, maybe even a little more purple, make it very light blue. And then where the magic's going to happen is let's add a outer glow to it. And we wanna make sure the spread isn't too much. We also want to lower that noise, maybe even not put noise. On the inner color, let's make it more white, because on the inside of the strike, it's going to be a lot brighter. We want to make sure we don't mess with the opacity too much, because if we're DTG printing this, lower opacities have a lot harder time to print, is what I recently learned. So we want to be careful of doing that. You know, obviously have fun with it, but yeah, just be kind of cautious of that. Maybe send this behind everything first, and then we can kind of piece it together that way. And let's try to add some more, kind of making it look like the horse is just freaking lit up. Group this together and name it lightning. And then I can copy that whole group, put that above everything, convert that, add a layer mask just like we did last time, and let's start painting in some sections that we want to show. See how easy this is though, guys? Like, it really isn't that hard once you get the hang of it. We need to kind of pick and choose though where we want this to show. This wing can show, this can show. I'm cool with it. I'm not mad at that. So now it's got something going on. Let's put some back here too, just to give it a little bit more pizzazz. That's a dumb word. That looks like it's got some shit going on, man. See, just very subtle, nothing too crazy, you know? Let's rasterize these and just get rid of those pieces that we don't like. There's a couple more up here that we need to delete as well. So I think by getting rid of these, it will really benefit the design more. This can be ungrouped actually. We don't need this text layer in a group. And then let's add a drop shadow to it to make it pop out a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a soft brush, dissolve it. I love doing this, by the way. I do it a lot. And let's make sure it is on pure black and just start painting on the bottom here. And then let's add an inner glow to our design here. Let's make it the same red as our text. And as you can see, now it's got that texture. By adding that inner glow, we're just really allowing it to look very soft, and it blends perfectly in with our text. You can change this, the choke on it. We don't really need a lot of noise, just a little bit, like maybe 10 to 14% is okay. I'm even gonna do just 12 maybe. Make sure opacity is at 100. The range you can change as well. That will also kind of choke it out. And if I zoom out, you can see what we got going on here. The horse honestly needs some adjusting. So let's go ahead and add a curve adjustment above it and make sure it's clipped to that horse group. And then let's go to the curve. And I'm gonna make like 3 or 4 points. See, we're gonna give it a little bit more definition. Now we're gonna add some texture. So let's go ahead and find some texture. I'm gonna go to unsplash.com and try to find a nice texture that I can use. This one looks pretty good and it's nice and crisp. And we're gonna paste that in place, rotate it, and just make sure it's the same size as our canvas, okay? And then now what I wanna do is press Command or Alt on my keyboard, left click on that. Let's copy this, copy merged, and then Command D or Alt D to deselect that. Add a layer mask to the horse, and we're gonna enter that layer mask by holding an Option. And now we're gonna press Shift Command V or Shift Alt V. Let's go ahead and look at it now. So now it should have that texture. And if you want, if you unlink it, you can move it around just like this. What I do usually to adjust it a little bit more is I hold an Option to enter the layer mask again. And then from here, we could just literally adjust the levels of our texture if you want it to be a little brighter like that. From there, it's gonna just basically bring out a little bit more brightness of the design. So anyway, that's the easy way to do it. So that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, if you zoom in now, you can see how like detailed it is. And let's go ahead and mock this up real quick. So this is their design, and then this one is ours. The only thing we didn't add was the 429. I didn't think it really needed it, but if you guys wanna add it, you could totally do that. We're gonna go ahead and use my mockup for this example. So I wanna just copy that design now and paste that on the mockup. And then again, we want to make sure it's in the design goes here folder. And to make it blend in with the shirt better, just change the blend mode to screen, and then you can lower the fill a little bit. So this would be the final. And the only comment I have to make before I leave you guys today is try to find the highest quality design assets that you can find. Like this horse is definitely not the highest quality. It was actually a fairly small image to work with, or to begin with, so that made it a little bit more difficult on me, but I really liked his positioning. Like I loved his angle and everything. So my only advice to you guys is find the highest quality images that you can possibly find before you start your design process, okay? Because that's like literally half the battle. You already know what to do. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of the video. Smash that like button if you loved it. And don't forget to turn on notifications. I upload videos every single week. That's it for me, guys. Keep creating, keep being awesome. Catch you guys in the next one.